Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today we are talking a cult classic movie from 1958. Some say a B movie, a capital B. Yes, as Susan's pointing out, it's right behind them there. It is, of course, The Blob, starring Steve McQueen. So we're going to go over to Alex and Susan and find out what their opening thoughts are on this movie. So over to you two.
What's yours?
Okay. Um, well, I mean, this is a sort of a cute B for kind of bad, not exactly great movie, which is the kind of movies I like. Of course, they got the new versions of this as well. Yeah, I mean, almost nobody looks like a kid in this movie, so I don't know why they say kids. It is kind of slow. Could have been faster. The effects aren't bad per se. The song is very silly, the theme song.
Yeah.
They use the same footage when they're running out of the theater, ironically, or coincidentally, as I like to say, because people are overusing that ironic since the song. Not in this movie, of course. Okay, you. And yeah, it's a good movie. I even like the fact that the policemen are very logical, actually, which is, again, coincidental, but nobody's a kid in this movie. So, yeah, it's a good movie. I don't know why Steve McQueen's in it. He should have been smart and gotten the percentage like Jack Nicholson did with the Batman that he was in. But yeah, I mean, it's not really a horrible movie or anything like that, but it's very low grade and it's very. But in a way, it started all of it. It started the Sharknado and all these other movies that are really bad. Well, no, but I mean, you can come even in Doctor Who. They had monsters that look pretty cheap. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad movie. The 1988 reboot wasn't too bad. I don't know how the Son of the Blob is, but in 1977, which is an actual sequel, but it's just a different cast anyway. So technically, you kind of have three movies connected. This one from 58, one from 1977, and one from 1988. The one from 1988 is a little bit more creepier, slightly better special effects. The women are a little bit more assertive, but they're not bad in this one either. I mean, again, you know, like we always say, and I always say, you can't compare, 1940 to 2019 or 1977 to 2019 or whatever. It's a different time. It's a different decade. All right, Susie.
All right. Let's see. Steve McQueen's in it. Andrea Corson, Earl Rowe, Olin Howland, Stephen something or other, and John Benson, and George Karras, and a few other people, but it's mostly Steve McQueen. And just like any movie that Steve McQueen's in, it's mostly Steve McQueen. For some reason, he's like, taking over the screen. He's the first Tom Cruise. He's that kind of thing. And he in this one he was great. It was fun to watch. They're out, snogging in a car in the middle of nowhere and watch a spaceship, a little organic spaceship hit the earth, and then there's this old guy who goes and pokes it with a stick. And that's always a bad idea. You just can't poke things with sticks, okay? It's not good. I mean, it could have been a face hugger. He could like the stuff that you could the stuff that gets out when you poke it with a stick is just it's just terrible. Anyway, so he got attached. It like he thought it was pushing it away, and it suddenly like grabbed his whole arm, and pretty soon it was his whole body, and pretty soon he was the Blob, and then it started absorbing other people. So in answer to a question that we haven't posited here, that's maybe how Son of Blob happened, because there are people inside Blob. Anyway, Blob is an alien. Blob is a thing, and when Blob enters a room, it looks like, other parts of anatomy. Anyway, it's sort of fun. Yes, they reused that, or they looped some footage that was made kind of cheesy. I love that Alex referred to that. That was funny. And we watched it for the first time together. No, we've seen it second time together last night, and it was good. It was good to watch. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a Steve McQueen movie, and I like it when the alien. I'll let Lee do his opening thoughts before I jump into my favorite moments. Okie doke.
You say enthusiasm. She loves the movie. Yeah, well, it was Steve McQueen's first major film role as a lead. I mean, I remember watching this movie way back when, when I was a young kid. So it was always on the TV. So rewatching it again this week, it's brought back some good memories. I don't know the version what you watched, but to me, when I was watching this, the colour is so brilliant in this movie. The bright colours, so it just really stand out colours. Bad acting, terrible acting in this movie from everyone. Very, as you said, the reuse of the scenes and stuff like that. But it is a good movie. It's a B movie. And what gets me though is how the Blob moves slowly. So there's certain scenes in it, like with the nurse in the doctor's surgery, where she's at one side of the room, the Blob's at the other side of the room. All she had to do was walk out the door. But no, she had to scream, and then the lights went out, and she was absorbed. And then the doctor as well, and the whole town. And I can't remember. Did the dog get away?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
You just heard it yelp in the background, and then
because someone said they saw the dog running down the street, but I can't remember if that was the last we saw the dog. I care for the animals. I couldn't care less about the human beings in this movie. But yeah, it's this. I mean, this was made in the late 1950s when Sci-Fi was just beginning to take over the movie theaters, wasn't it? Really becoming big. Sci-Fi. I wonder what it would have been like to have sat big screen watching this, because I bet everybody who was back then was in awe of it. I mean, the way that I don't know what they made the Blob from, but it looked wonderful. So so much you could eat it.
a big Jello ball.
Big Jello ball, maybe treacle or syrup or something like that. But it did look good. Yeah, it's just the acting in it is bloody awful. And you have got an annoying little kid as well, which goes running off. We've got to save the kid, and then they all get trapped. Yeah, so that's my opening thoughts. It's an enjoyable movie to watch.
Well,
So
I mean, again, that's the other question is the it does sort of, and unfortunately, I've seen like enough bad movies for like 10 people, so it sort of reminds me of the stuff from the 80s where they were making those phony commercials with Abe Vigoda from Barney Miller and Fish, and the Clara Peller woman from Where's the Beef, where that hamburger bun does sort of look like the Blob, the same size of it anyway. But the funny thing in that movie, one of the catchphrases, one of the lines is, "Are you eating it or is it eating you?" You know, so you kind of have the same thing from the Blob, and then
this one you don't eat.
Okay, well, obviously, but it's a joke. But the other thing is,
can I just say
yeah,
that? Can I
yeah.
just say in a couple of weeks we most probably will be doing the stuff.
And that one has, you know, famous people from Goodfellas and Saturday Night Live and all that. But again, what was I gonna say? The song being so goofy when you first see the movie, the you know, the ironic you know, thing of the Blob that it moves slowly like a zombie, like original zombie movies, Night of the Living Dead from the 60s and all that. But the funny thing is, I mean, the colors were good, the music's actually good. The acting, okay, the acting isn't really good, but I mean, it's a B movie. And not only that, it's inspirational for the movies that were making fun of other movies like Kentucky Fried Movie and Scream. They have a scene in the movie where people are getting scared at the drive-in, no, at the theater.
Yeah.
You know, they're sitting there laughing, but it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's great to watch it as a movie if somebody's killing somebody or stabbing somebody. It wouldn't be fun in real life, though. But the funny thing is, they're running out of the theater. They're reusing the same footage of people running out. And if you really watch it or slow it down, like you can do now, and with VCRs as well, you press the pause button. You can see that it's the same, you know, it's the same footage.
The same people.
Yeah, and the same people. So, you know, it's also very funny that even I remember from YouTube and from real life of people people watching movies in the theater or when we were watching it on TV or when Fox had a movie when they used to have movies or TV 38 locally when they used to have a host that would introduce it and stuff.
So,
And but yeah, I like it. I mean, it's not the best movie. There's other movies that are better.
What's your favorite
part? But yeah, well, like I said, the song is very weird. That's very. It's almost like you're watching a cartoon. The way that the movie, the way the opening theme goes.
Yeah, that opening theme song. When it first comes on, you think you're going to be watching a cartoon.
Yeah, it sounds like a cartoon. Yeah.
Cartoon, yeah, and it's a catchy song.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
doesn't go with the movie. That's.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the other thing too is that, you know, I've seen real scary movies like, you know, about other subjects we're not going into of, you know, I think they did it also to try to not terrify everybody because that was the other reason why it was to be a movie back then is that you had Ed Wood and you had other directors, Bert I. Gordon and all that they were trying to, you know, scare everybody while they're in the movie theater. Some things are scary, though. This, unfortunately, not exactly scary. Even though the effect of the old man with this, you know, globule, mucusy, whatever, is, you know, grabbing onto his hand and eating him and turning him into a blob. And the guy under the car was kind of scary. But again, you know, it's an old trick now.
Those are good parts.
Yeah, it's an old trick now. But it's also done well, you know, also. So that's, you know, it's always good when they do it well. But, yeah, the acting definitely could have improved.
So my favorite part was the part in the restaurant in the old train car restaurant diner.
Yeah.
That was really cool. You know how it went over the top of it and it covered all the windows and all the doors and they had to sort of find a way to fight it. That was really fun. I mean, I enjoyed that part most of all. The theater when it's coming out and it looks anatomically correct, that was pretty fun. And so yeah, there were some other pretty fun parts, but the part of it where in the diner, the restaurant, the old train car was super cool. Anyway, that's my bit.
Yeah,
I mean, also, go ahead, Lee.
Go on.
It's also funny, another trope, as we like to call it, the trope of let's burn it with a power line or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't work, and then, let's freeze it. But I did love it when the kids in the back are finally like, we'll help, we're right here. They go, to get the fire, the
when
CO2.
when they're breaking into the high school. Yeah, that's part of that. That's fun.
Yeah.
Like all kids want to break into their high school and stuff. That's kind of an Americanism that's funny. And the other thing, yeah.
No, I mean, that's another trope of, just like Cinema Sins and other places where they go, oh, you better come and have a look at this cliche. And then the old man or the kid or whoever is dumb enough to go alone into a dark room or a dark place. And then, of course, now we have jump scares, that type of, so you go through the old tropes of, just like we were laughing. Why is the old guy who doesn't know what this egg is poking it with a stick? I mean, what are you going to do next, try to punch a jellyfish and then you get surprised when it stings you?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is many good bits in this. The part with not the part the policeman, not the policeman in charge, but is under his deputy. Doesn't believe anything of what these kids say. They're just these bad kids all the time.
you rotten kids.
Yeah. I wanted that copper's getting his comeuppance.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Do they look like teenagers to you? Because they didn't look like teenagers to me.
No, I don't know. I mean, how old was Steve McQueen in 1958? I don't know.
He wasn't a teenager, that's for sure.
I'll find out.
We sometimes get these actors playing teenagers what are in the 30s. But,
oh, yeah. Well, of course, then you have the other one, the Beverly Hills 90210, the original show that has a slight reboot to come back as themselves. He was 28. Yeah, that's not a kid in my view, unless you're like 90. Then maybe 28's young. But I would think a kid is, age 1 to age 18 might be a kid, but 25 isn't a kid. Or it's young, but it's not a kid because legal age.
So let him finish his.
Okay, go ahead.
But to say I mean, halfway through it, where the blob is squeezed itself under the door of the freezer. Mm-hmm. I mean, it must have took ages for him to really get the right shots and get the right consistency of whatever they were using. So, you've got to give them a big thumbs up for their time and effort spent on this. But it was a bit of a giveaway with the freezer thing where it suddenly retracted. But it wasn't until the end of the movie they realised, it's cold. But and also as well, I like the end where it's the end question mark.
Question mark again.
What's really fun is that this blob was actually like revisited in Doctor Who in the Wirral. The guy gets his arm cut, but it instead of using gelatin, they used
bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap, yeah. So No,
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's a trope, They use it again and again and again and again. I mean, like now what they do is, it's a deadly virus. It's a deadly virus, which, it is and it isn't. I mean, you could have microorganisms. And the scary part is, of course, you can't see them with your, regular eyes.
Well, I'll tell you now, Steve McQueen was 28.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, in 1965, he was over here in Boston shooting the Thomas Crown Affair, the original. So, I mean, I don't know. 25 to 38 doesn't strike me as a kid, unless you're going to live to 200. And it didn't really strike me as a kid. But
maybe back then there was rules and regulations about using younger actors in movies.
Yeah. Well, of course, he made a mistake by not taking a percentage because the movie made millions. The other trope that they used is the break the blinds, the homemaker or maid that wanted to clean up even though they needed it for evidence.
Oh yeah.
The chessboard, the chessboard inside the drawer. It just reminded me of CinemaSins going, oh, now we have to look intellectual because we're playing chess.
Yeah. That cleaner, the housekeeper was quite funny. I'll just dust around the fingerprints.
I know. I was like, what is this? The Pink Panther all of a sudden?
Anyway, have we got any more to say before we go to final say? No, right, okay. So, you two, what's your final say and score on the Blob?
Well, like I said, I mean, overall, this is a B movie, deserving of a B. It's also pretty funny because you have some very famous actors. I mean, again, if you know how to look on the internet and YouTube, you can find, movies that are similar, movies that are using the trope. Like there's one from 1977, A Bed That Eats People, and all the, and that sort of mucusy, how it pulls people underneath the top of the mattress and eats them. So, I mean, that's a typical trope of this, even Doctor Who has used it and everybody else is, a virus that you can't see, or what was it? Terror of the Autons, those plastic dolls or mannequins that came to life and killed you or whatever.
The chair that
yes. Yeah, the chair that eats you. Yeah. So, I mean, but I don't necessarily mind it if it's done well, if it's done clever. Of course, like I said, Steve McQueen should have gotten a percentage, and he already was he was already on TV.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what's the name? Wanted, Dead or Alive, or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. They say this was his first major role, so I don't know if he had the pull to get the percentage that time.
Yeah, according to reports, he should have chosen the percentage because it made lots of money. And again, I think I saw the 1977 one. Really, not much to recommend that either. And I know I saw the 1988 version, which was a little better special effects and a little bit more modern, comparatively speaking. It wasn't bad, though. So I'll give it credit for it being kind of a reboot or a revamp that wasn't god-awful, terrible, or totally unoriginal. With Shawnee Smith, who ended up being in the Saw series, but I don't like talking about that series, but I like her as an actress. But yeah, I mean, it's a cute movie. You got to start somewhere. Again, this is what we mean by bad being good, as they say, or cheesy. It's usually enjoyable.
All right. Did you give it? You gave it a B. What is that? What is that in 7? Is that a 7 or an 8?
Yeah, it's about a 7 or an 8.
All right, and for me, I like it a lot. I've seen it twice with Alex. It's memorable, and this is the beginning of our spooky time because it's October. So we're gonna scare y'all, and so this is our first movie review of that season, and for all of those reasons, I'm gonna give it an 8 also, and suggest that you are entertained by this movie quite a bit. And back over to you, Lee.
It is an entertaining movie, yeah. I think I'm going to give it an 8 as well. It's it's enjoyable. If you sit there watching it, you've got a smile on your face. You don't take it too seriously. It's done the job right, hasn't it? It's just the acting does lets the side down a bit, of course, and says some things in the scenes being reused, but it's an 8 from me. It is an enjoyable movie. So you guys out there, grab yourself a copy, or download what this newfangled thing is, streaming and downloading. I don't understand it. I always get the physical copy because I'm old-fashioned.
At least you own the movie. You don't have, Amazon and other places that can take it away from you.
True.
True that.
So, thank you two guys for joining me talking about the Blob. You guys out there, if you like our review, leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of the Blob, or suggest some movies we could review in the future, or TV shows. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're all over the page, all over the social media. So if you guys out there would like to get involved with whatever cast we're doing, just leave a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So until next time, beware, there may be a blob out there.